Welcome to the next video in the training series. Continuing on from part 1 of the Risk Assessments tutorial. We will cover entering additional information on the youth being reported missing, in order to aid law enforcement in finding them. Let's get started. We last left off at the end of the notes, which covered the reasons why you are deciding whether to report someone as missing. In the next section, we are going to enter additional information for the police report. Under the last seen date and time, use the calendar and clock icons to enter in the approximate time the youth was last seen by anyone. The family home address and occupants text field is for any details about where the youth's family may live. You could also use this field to list multiple phone numbers for their family if there is more than one number, instead of the family phone field below. For the next two sections, enter as many possible destinations and known hangouts as you are aware of. Enter as much information as possible. Use the next section to provide as much information as possible about the clothing worn the last time you saw the youth. Not every section needs to be filled out, but the more descriptive information you have, the better. In our example, we will enter the clothing we last saw Katerina wearing. The next section asks if the youth is a young offender. In our example, Katerina is not a young offender, so we will select No. Under Ministry of Social Services Primary Worker, enter the name and contact details for the social worker assigned to the youth from Social Services. If there is a primary worker listed under the youth's client profile, the system will automatically fill out this field. Be sure the information is accurate. Next, the List Specific Attempts to Locate section is meant to inform law enforcement of what you have already done in your attempts to locate the youth. Be sure that any information provided is suitable to be shared with law enforcement. The information entered into this portion of the risk assessment will be added to the report submitted to law enforcement by your supervisor later on. Next, create a descriptive narrative that surrounds the disappearance. Use this section to provide a summarization of all of the information entered in the risk assessment. In our example, we are going to make mention of the interactions our staff had with Katerina leading up to her disappearance that were the basis for answering the risk profile questions the way we did. We will also help law enforcement understand Katerina's state of mind leading up to her disappearance, which leads to our suspicion that she was abducted. Finally, we will also briefly discuss any past incidents she was involved in, which bolster our suspicion that Katerina was abducted. The next section is the Concerns for Police Report. If there are any immediate concerns for law enforcement to focus on, such as a dangerous drug dependency or any cognitive concerns which might make the youth's disappearance an emergency situation, be sure to select Yes or No for the corresponding fields. For privacy reasons, the system doesn't share the specific details to any of these answers with law enforcement. However, you may choose to share this information with them verbally if asked. Ultimately, it is up to your discretion to balance your youth's right to privacy against the immediate need to locate them safely. Next, upload a recent picture of the youth. If a picture has been attached to their client profile, then the system will automatically insert that picture for you. However, you may want to use this opportunity to update that picture. This picture will be sent as an attachment to law enforcement along with the risk assessment. To change or add a picture of the youth to the risk assessment, click the Upload button and select a picture from your device. To remove the photo from the assessment, click the Remove button. Next, confirm your name and date of birth for the report. Your date of birth is a requirement by law enforcement when submitting a police report. And finally, go through the entire risk assessment and make sure everything is properly completed. Once you are satisfied, return to the bottom of the assessment and click the Save button. You will then be returned to the main risk assessments screen. In our example, a new entry has been created in the list for Katerina with the status of open. An email will be sent to the supervisors of your organization to review your risk assessment. Once approved, law enforcement will receive a copy of your assessment, and in our case, Katerina will be added as a missing persons on the main dashboard. As an extra step, we should also update the youth's communication log. First, click the Client Search button from the left-hand side. Then, find the youth in the list and click the pencil icon next to their name. In our example, we are going to update Katerina's communication log to note that she has gone missing. To update the log, click the Edit button. A pop-up will appear. You can add or remove any notes necessary. In our case, we are going to make note that we suspect Katerina has gone missing due to abduction. Under the colored slider, choose a severity level. In our example, we are going to select a red severity. Any client communication logs with the severity set as red will show up under the Critical Communications section of the main dashboard. In our case, even though your supervisor hasn't officially approved your risk assessment nor reported it to the police, we want to make sure everyone logging into the missing youth system at the start of their shift is aware of Katerina's disappearance. This communication log can also be used to notify staff of anything that they should be aware of, that is of an urgent nature. Once you've typed your notes and specified the severity level, click the Save button. Now, scroll down and select the Missing Person checkbox. This will flag Katerina on the client search page that she is missing. Finally, scroll all the way to the bottom and click Save. A risk assessment has now been completed for Katerina. Congratulations! You have now completed the risk assessment tutorial. To continue, the next video in the training series you should watch is called Analytics.